Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, Nico here, and we are now in episode 12 of Road to Masters. As you can see, we took back our rightful spot, number 4. Obviously not very happy about that, but we have to make with it and try to still make it count and go closer to our Masters rank that we try to achieve here. Tree, Opulent, Sardaukar Legend, heavy and interesting cards here. And by heavy I mean expensive, obviously. I think I'd like to try to play with Ilesa again. It's been a while. Not that easy. But then again, I mean, Helena could actually make sense when checking those cards here. I've already played twice with Helena, but actually both times unfavorable outcomes. So let's actually try Helena instead. And let's try to bring her into that kind of positive result we are looking for. Typically first being the ideal one, but obviously second wouldn't be too bad neither. But we need those stars to climb up the platinum rank we are right now. And obviously after platinum we will need to reach and go through diamond, after which we will be in the masters hopefully. And obviously when master you get a top, so then we would still try to obviously get as high as possible in the top, trying to reach, I think my record is top 102 last month or 3, so definitely trying to reach that top 100 would be awesome. We have on Prince Vernius and Ilban. No one going for Ilesa, which I can understand. It's not like she's not known as one of the strongest heroes, but I kind of find it interesting effects she has. So for once we have a bit of a more balanced hand. We don't have the signet ring though, which I would have liked in that first hand to try and shotgun that tree, but we will have to make without. A hardy warrior for Ilban, which is an interesting start to the game. And the wells for the prince, I'll call him, because I keep forgetting his name. He's a Vernius, but he's not the only one, obviously. Each house has, I think, at least probably around 2 of their representatives as leaders, at least from those I know. Richies as well. By the way, we have Ilban, who is also a Richies. But I don't mind those unusual plays that will leave us at least one of Foldspace or Smuggling for ourselves, which usually as player 4 you can forget in round 1. But now, I mean, that seems not too bad, so I'm not going to complain about being 4th player in those kind of circumstances for sure. Arakin. Interesting. None of them interested in neither Foldspace or Smuggling. To be fair, given that Ilban and the Prince went to faction spaces, my bet is they can probably not or won't have a second one for Foldspace. So I'll first try with Smuggling. Let's be a bit greedy and hopefully we can get both, which would be quite unheard of, at least for me as player 4. But I mean, it's still unlikely. Menmon might have it. They might just not treat it as an absolute priority, contrary to many other players. But let's see. We should end the round with 5 persuasion, so Sardaukar Legion could work nicely for us. But we obviously lost players, so let's see what gets picked up before us. Might reveal some other interesting cards, or not. But that will be decided a bit later. seems at least my bet on Ilban and Prince was right. Given they both visited a faction, they probably don't have their second faction card in hand. Now let's see what Menman is doing, given he's been to Arakin first. Wind traps for the Prince. Quite cheap ones. Minimic film would be very interesting. And still suits, leaving us Foldspace apparently. To be fair, I would have gone to still suits had Foldspace been taken, so it's either or, but I kinda like that. I like having Foldspace. Maybe, I mean, next round will be third, so maybe it will still be open for us to get that second influence there, which would line us up quite nicely for interstellar shipping afterwards. Especially with that hand, we can definitely go for this. So let's see. As player 4, having both Smuggling and Foldspace, can really not complain. Very interesting early game. Definitely not a very meta one, let's call it, because usual players would definitely spam Foldspace and Smuggling as first and second player, and player 4 would have to do without these, but interesting. I don't mind having those choices for myself. Maybe we will go for a Smuggler Scepter. It's quite powerful, and we can bet on maybe players not being that attracted to Foldspace this game. These three players seem to play a bit less according to the usual rules, so I think we can try. Because, I mean, Sardaukar Legion is not too bad neither. For sure, those recruited troops can be useful, but those two cards you can draw with the Smuggler Scepter, that is quite powerful, especially if they leave me the interstellar shipping to myself for a couple of rounds, which I'm willing to take a bet on. I think I'll go for it. And worst case, I mean, the spice on reveal is not the worst neither. If I take a bit more time to get that to that 2 influence level with the spacing guild. Let's see. So what is Menman doing? What did he actually reveal last round? Okay, so he had a faction access, but again, prioritizing Fremen. Okay, he even revealed his signaturing as well. Playing... What did he play first then? Seek allies, but was it Reconnaissance that he played first? But that is quite strange. I mean, revealing the signaturing when you played Reconnaissance makes not much sense, especially as a Menmon, given it gives you a spice. The signet ability, it's definitely something you want to make use of. But anyways, so we have our 2 influence there. Very nice. And second shot will definitely be signaturing to interstellar shipping. I'm not a big fan of those early conflicts having victory points each time, because as you can see, my opponents are quite keen on those conflicts, and I would hope that they don't get too much of an early lead, because definitely going the shipping track and avoiding conflict is a bit of a longer term perspective. So I would appreciate them not running away with all the victory points that early. But if at least they can split them among themselves, which I think seems to be the case, because I think Ilban took the first one. Yes. Now Nenmon probably will take this one. And that seems to be it. So definitely a signet ring. Then we're left with actually one persuasion, which is not great, because it means whatever we put on the side now, we won't be able to buy. But then again, there's nothing else I want to do. I mean, I only have daggers otherwise, so, and I don't have Solari for anything but deck negotiation. So it is not an option. So I guess we will just do the big brother play, I call that. Like, if I cannot have it, no one can. So I'll just put away probably treachery. Too powerful to be given a chance to other players to take. So let me here actually take an option on the Spacing Guild Alliance, I think. The rest can come a bit later. Let's definitely take the Solari. Get a bit closer to getting the third agent. And here, yeah, I mean, let's just put treachery on the side. I mean, on one hand, I just don't like the fact that those early conflicts have victory points, but I don't mind them fighting in these early combats at all, because it kind of decreases their garrison while I build mine up with shipping. So it's not the worst. Jamis, that is a good card. But unfortunately we won't be able to buy anything this round, given our miserable 1 persuasion. So next round, ideally we might get to wealth just to get enough Solari for a Swordmaster. The Prince seemed to be able to go there and will probably be willing to do so, but with our passive ability we can always go infiltrate, let's call it. Nothing we can do. That's not ideal. In the spirit of sharing those early victory points, Ilvan should not be the one winning here from our point of view. So let's see if Menmon has something for his intrigue card. He does, which is great. Great for us that they play their combat cards now. Hopefully Menmon end up on top, but let's see what Ilban has. Seems like nothing else. Also gives us information that this entry card is most likely not a combat one. So a guild bank raid. So we don't really have what it takes to get Swordmaster this round. We could go to interstellar shipping up and down, and that's enough. But I'd prefer, given our monopoly of the shipping track, I prefer taking my time there and just going up and making the most out of those moves. Even if it means delaying the Swordmaster by one round and having it only for round 4. Which I think is fine, because as any other leader, I would probably have hurried now, although actually, or at least put myself in a position to be first to get it next round. But given I'm Helena, I can go there anyways, even if someone is already there, so I can just do it. We have 2 Foldspace in our deck, so let's see what we actually draw with Smuggler Scepter. Let's hope not really those Foldspaces. Okay, that's better. I like it, because I tried getting a bit of persuasion for the Signet Rings ability to maybe pick up an Opulence or Worm Rider, probably rather Opulence though. And those daggers I don't mind, to be honest, because now might be the time for a little conflict as well. Picking up a bit more Solari, maybe for a Dreadnought, for a High Council. It's never lost, and it's usually not a very popular conflict. And given that they already wiped out the garrison for most of them, I would not expect them to be very busy in making that conflict. Our next hand will be interesting. I mean, we have choices thanks to those 2 False Spaces. We have Diplomacy as well. So I think... Actually, I'm just thinking now, why am I starting with interstellar shipping when no one else can go? It's a bit of a professional deformation, I guess, because usually it's such like a coveted space, and by that time mostly someone else has access, so I just don't even think and shotgun it first thing when I can. But I shouldn't do that. It's a bit of a misplay, because right now I know that no one else can go there, so why not first claiming a spot like Cartag with my signaturing? Um, it could make more sense, to be fair. And that's what I mean, right now no impact on my game, but it could have technically been a bit more problematic. That is good on one hand, but on the other, if I want an opulence, I need to full focus Solari the whole time, which is maybe not the worst, because I can do it thanks to my monopoly of the shipping track. But let's see. And maybe it gives me an incentive of putting a bit more than just 1 troop in there. Could technically put 3. I think 2 is enough, given... no, let's go with 3. Let's put what we can with the daggers. We're well set, I think, here. Let's take an opulence here. Ooh, the kvisats. That's not ideal. I mean, knowing that I just literally played my signaturing, it's gonna take a while if I can get to that, and maybe another player can obviously acquire it first. So that's enough for Ilban to have his Swordmaster next round, but unless we finish out of the rewards, which is very unlikely with our 6 strength plus the daggers, we will have Solari before him, and yes, we can always go and grab it after anyone else, but I think it has some value to block other players from having theirs too early. So I think our first move would be a Foldspace to Swordmaster. And are we... Maybe the troop transports could make sense for us, given our heavy use of that shipping track. It's a very interesting game, very unpredictable. Cannot really tell what the other players will be doing because they play in a very unconventional way, in my opinion, which is not a critique. I really like it. It makes it more exciting to like not be able to really guess what they're gonna do and just have to play my way, hoping that they won't get in the way. Let's take our reserved opulence. I feel like my opponents are playing in a much more, let's say, classical way, like gathering the resources, focusing on combat as well early, and well, up to now they I think all ignored fully the shipping track, so it's really interesting. Except like right now Menmon going to smuggling, but up to now I'm not sure any of them made use of it. So among our next objectives, obviously Swordmaster, but ideally also getting to influence with the Fremen as early as possible would be good. Getting that alliance with the shipping track. We seem to already have 2 of our agent turns sorted, one being the Swordmaster, the other one Interstellar Shipping, probably as the last agent, and in between maybe Fremen spot would be good for us. I like that conflict, to be honest. So it is my turn to go first. So for sure, we will just go to Swordmaster. A bit of a bummer to have to use a Foldspace for it, especially once the dagger pops up. Like, well, That could have been a better use, but it is what it is. So now it mixed our deck into this. We have Opulence, Smuggler, Signaturing. Interesting cards, but the other four obviously a bit too basic for us. Then again, does it line up nicely for maybe a Kwisatz next round if it's still there? Could work. The other thing I'd like is to be able to have 6 Solari by the time Opulence comes back. And I think the shipping truck will help me do so nicely. Up to now, I don't think I've picked up a single spice at any point. And I was thinking about that because right now my plan is still to pick up Solari regardless from that shipping truck as well. Even though I'll also grab 3 Solari from our bump here. I think regardless, we kind of Solari hungry with the Chome shares, with the Opulence, can make use of it. That's a bit annoying because now it kind of prevents us from doing one of the things I wanted, being the Fremen increase here. Now, do I maybe want a Dreadnought? That goes a bit against our plan, although it would still leave us enough Solari thanks to the track. But I'm not sure. Maybe we go for a Foldspace, Diplomacy to Foldspace, or Foldspace to Foldspace. Gives us that bump regardless, and here we can actually use that influence with the Fremen. And we can join the conflict thanks to the troop transports, which most likely won't be picked up by anyone else. I think that's a good play. Let me now think, should it be with Diplomacy or with Foldspace? Do we want to draw now? It's okay, we still have an agent, so we could make use of it. So let's see what we pick here. Convincing argument. Not ideal, because I mean the goal would be to have all those persuasion at the same time to grab a Kwisatz, obviously, but it seems it's not gonna happen, or at least not for sure. No, unlikely here. But I mean, it gives us enough persuasion to potentially do something else here. Maybe a death commando. I mean, right now we have 5, but we will use 1 to go to interstellar shipping. And the prince not having a dreadnought yet is quite interesting. I usually try to make most out of the powers that are given to me with a certain leader, and obviously with its heavy lasgun cannons, you kind of want to pick up a dreadnought early. Seems they are fighting for first spot. Here it doesn't have that much value. I mean, potentially an alliance for Menmon. That's something he could do anyways. So I'm not that scared of that conflict. So let's see. Yeah, I think a troop transport makes definite sense here. We can potentially send maybe a troop in, although Ilban is still playing, I think it's still worth a play. Because here an intrigue card or a spice, I wouldn't say no to, but even regardless, our garrison is like well populated compared to others, so we can waste a troop. Let's say we could technically afford it. I don't like calling it that way, and I hope still that obviously Ilban is not joining. Otherwise, I would definitely not have put it in. But trying to how do you say, negotiate a bit with myself and make me feel better if he still decides to go in. It was definitely a gamble to send that troop in. Let's put it that way. Oh, he's doing more than just putting a troop in. He's haylinering it. He's probably going to be the first one, other than me, having access to interstellar shipping. So we wasted that troop, let's put it frankly. So our next plans. I mean, our deck does not really allow us to go to the Fremen. Smuggler Thopter, we probably would want to play it. Opulence, probably not. Probably rather revealing it. We have the Solari for it. We build a healthy reserve for that. I would have loved playing diplomacy as well here, at least getting a bit of influence around here, but I mean, in the end, we made, I mean, 2 out of 3 of our moves were done. Swordmaster, Interstellar Shipping were locked, and I think the Foldspace move also made sense to just lock in this, allow us to use that influence bump here somewhere else. So yeah, we will have to find another way or a later way to do Emperor and Bene Gesserit points. I think we have Freeman cards, no? Oh, actually not. Kind of mixing it up with the previous game, most likely. But regardless, that Siege Reverend Mother, I like the Axis agent icons. I like the agent effect. The reveal, obviously not really useful to us, at least right now. But Freemans are quite useful. I mean, easy to get as well with the liaison. So for sure, the Siege Reverend Mother is not something we would say no to right now. And they send all in, have 0 garrison right now, which, to be honest, puts us in quite a nice position, hopefully. We, in the next 2 rounds, hopefully can still gather a bit of spice. Maybe at some point to still potentially consider a highliner, although we are very far from it right now, but spice would make sense. Getting influence on those 3 factions definitely as well. A Dreadnought could be nice. So those are a few of the ideas that could drive our next few rounds. Of the memory. This is an insane combo with an Kwisatz actually, if it comes in the right way, playing Kwisatz, having it in the discard, and the next round you play other memory, draw the Kwisatz back in your hand. It's insane synergy. Obviously it needs to fall in just right, but when it does, it's very powerful. So let's see if Ilban plays once like we would expect it. Does he bump up this spacing guild? He does. And now he will most likely play shipping first. at least for his turn, but then it's going to be back to me if I want it, given I'm playing before him. Oh, interesting. He doesn't have the 2 spies, but I think it's still a fair move to do, to use it when you can, because there are not that many conflicts overall, so it's better to use it when you can, for sure. I would agree. So now a terrible purpose. Let us see what we can do here. Smuggler Thopter first, I think would make sense, to then just assess how much persuasion we have. Well, we will pick up 2 for sure here. Puts us to 5, plus an unknown amount, which could likely be 0 as well. And then a signet ring, putting away the Kvisats. Maybe we can still get to it by stretching a bit. Let's see. And he's not going to interstellar shipping. So again, undoing my predictions. But it makes it so interesting. But I don't mind having another go or two at the interstellar shipping track. Flagship obviously is a great one to pick up, but with our amount of spies might be a bit complicated. By then we might get some more. I think the more this game drags, the more I have a chance of claiming one of those top spots. Right now it seems that Menmon and Ilban spread their points between them a bit, which is good for me obviously. It means none of them took too much of a lead early game. And our shipping strategy and overall Helena is usually made for a bit more longer term plays, I feel like. So we did not pick up something very useful in terms of reveal effect, because we don't have any Fremen, but as an agent I don't mind Reverend Mother, for sure. That kind of kills our plan of having a Kvisach, though. But that's gonna be okay. With the Signet we might just be willing to pick up something else. Maybe a Guild Accord, given we have the Alliance, and we don't have that much spice, so a bit of a discount on the Hayliner could do us some good. What does it reveal? Spy satellites. Actually not a bad one for us right now, given our levels with the Bene Gesserit and the Emperor. Let's reconsider that early next round when we could potentially acquire one with 2 discount. Think I'm not exactly sure what I'm willing to do right now, but a Dreadnought sounds tempting, to be honest. Oh, actually, how did I not see that earlier? A dagger to High Council gives me 7. But then playing the Signet Ring brings me back down to 6, and the Kvisach would cost 7 if I put it on the side. And here I have 2 chances of not picking up any persuasion if I go, let's say, to Arakin. So it's still 1 chance out of 3. Interesting. Maybe dagger to High Council could make sense regardless, just to pick up that spot and that extra persuasion every round from now on. Although, I mean, Dreadnought I like as well, especially closer to those round 7 conflicts. But yeah, I think a spy satellite could make sense, at least to not feel forced in doing too much on that Emperor and Bene Gesserit factions. Also because actually Menmon could make a lot out of it as well with his 3 factions at 0. Let us see. And he's got enough spies, so he could technically take it. He doesn't have an agent right now, so no need to go block this, technically. But next round, he could be interested in that. I think dagger to High Council can make sense regardless. And I mean that Kvisatz is always interesting, don't get me wrong, but might be a bit too late to get a lot out of it. It's round 5. Round 6 hand is already covered by the deck, so earliest I would get it is round 7, and that's if I'm lucky, because by then I'll have 14 cards I think in my deck, maybe even 15 by then. So I'm not entirely sure I can get a lot out of it, maybe 1 agent play. Is it worth the 8 persuasion? I'm not sure. Not sure about that. Maybe a Gilda card. Now the question is, do I put it aside with the signet ring, or do I go with the Siege Reverend Mother to still suit trashing a dagger, maybe committing a troop or 2? I think I prefer that, because if I don't get the Gilda card, well, so be it. It's not the end of the world. No one can make use of its unload effect anyways, except me. I mean, for that 3 spice at least. So I think we will do that. Get a point here, which is good. Trashing that dagger that we talked about. And maybe deploying... We don't really need that water, to be fair. We have 2. I mean, there's never enough. But do we really see the value in putting in 2 troops for that? I don't think so. I think a troop will be enough. Let's try to maintain our garrison to a nice level for the level 3 conflicts. I mean, even if it takes Gilda card, we have Worm Rider, which is also a very good card. Stilgar is also a good one, yeah. So I didn't feel like I had to reserve it with the Signet ability. Another one with 6 persuasion, so let's see what he chooses. He goes for the Gilda card. So, Sardaukar Legion. Not sure we want that. I think the Worm Rider. Worm Rider, I think, makes more sense. We have those 2 influence, so we can make use of that in combat times, and the accesses are a bit more active as well in terms of combat. So Sardaukar Legion obviously allows to get a recruitment of 2 troops, but it goes to those inactive spots, like political spots, let's call them, without any chance to join the combat. And we pick up our first spice round 5. This is quite a curiosity as well. So we are 3 players at 5 victory points, which is good. Which means we're not too far behind in terms of development. And overall, I kinda like our setup right now. The cards we have are good. We have that shipping track well on board just for one last recall. Probably starting from next round we will focus it less, given the usual rule of getting more involved in the combat starting there. But let's see. Let's see what Menmon does. I kinda hope he doesn't go for the spy satellites, because I'd like it for myself. But it could be that he just picks it up before. Because for him it means a lot as well. I mean, more than me, technically. He's got 3 factions with 0. I have 2. Imperial Basin means he's not gonna catch it, but he's definitely getting ready for a Hayliner, it seems like. I think we will go with Dune. The only thing I don't like with the spy satellite is that it costs 4, meaning I need to choose spies here, which is not ideal, but I think we will still do it. Giving up on a bit of Solari and a potential opulence next round, but that's still a long shot. It's not given that we will have opulence, or is it though? No, thought so. It's in the discard right now, so let's not count too much on the future and rather act on what we can do right now, which is buying that spy satellite. So now we are technically at 7 victory points, and we will actually need a couple more Solari, I forgot, for Chome shares. What are we taking here now then? We could actually try and mess a bit with the Freeman Alliance. And I think we might just do that, given our accesses here. Let's not. I mean, we could also gain that just on the Spacing Guild and continuing messing with the Fremen. But let's see. We can still commit a bit later. I didn't want to undo our nice little garrison here just before round 7. But it depends a bit on how the next agent turns of my opponents go. We might still be willing to pick it up if it's not too expensive in terms of troop. What is so urgent for him? Flagship makes sense. Oh, a Chomerky. This cost us the game recently. Not having it, I mean. But I'll let you get to that video if you want. I was playing. Who was I playing? Paul? No, I was playing Yuna. So that's the game. I think it was episode 11. If you want to have a look, it was a very interesting game. And it went up to the last moment, but unfortunately it was a 3-way tie, and we did not end up winning. That's all I'm gonna say. playing her is interesting. Not exactly understanding what's happening here. So here we have a nice situation where the two that still have an agent don't have enough water for hardy warriors. So we kinda can slowly but surely take that alliance away from Menmon, it seems like. And I think that's exactly what we're gonna do. At the same time, it allows us to commit a bit to the conflict if we want. I think we will deploy two. Maybe not two, just one, to mess a bit with the prince. Hopefully he's not committing more, and then we can enter with hardy warriors and maybe pick it up at lower cost. Because right now, if we equalize him, he might feel like, oh, there, Helena is fighting with me. I need to make sure I win and try to recruit more troops. Whereas now he's probably feeling like I'm not really interested in that conflict. Just want to participate for second place. But actually, not what we want. I think we kinda would be okay to win it if it doesn't mean too much harm to our garrison. And the diplomacy too. Hardy warriors steering the alliance. I think 8 should be enough. What does he have here in terms of tech? Oh, my bad. Nothing in terms of swords. He's just got 2 cards in hand, 1 intrigue still, but let's go with 4. I think this could be enough. And I mean, it's not the end of the world if we don't win it, but I just don't want to overcommit and fall short in the next few rounds where it's going to be a bit more important. And just 1 dagger. Maybe still an intrigue card though, but at least it would require some effort from him to overtake us. Here we can reveal. 5. I think that Bene Gesserit sister can be of use, especially for her reveal flexibility. And do we pick up a liaison? Yeah, maybe for the Fremen bond, just in case. And we have a Warm Rider for that as well, and I think a bit of extra persuasion wouldn't hurt in case we can buy a Spice Must Flow with that. 16. Wow. Interesting, he just doesn't have enough for Spice Must Flow and Equalizats. Let's see what he prioritizes. At this stage of the game, I think it must be a Spice Must Flow. But let's see what he takes. It is a Spice Must Flow. So he's passing, and I think we just lock in the alliances. I was thinking potentially still getting up 1 both here to have them quite easily and potentially just trash spy satellite for another point. But I think we rather secure what we can and keep spy satellite. Opulence. That we want. Some Solari again. Maybe a Smuggler-Thopter to interstellar shipping up and down would give us just that. It's not ideal because we kinda want to go for the conflict, but let's see what we can do about that. Manmon seems to take a serious option on it with a Hayliner. Turn 1. That brings us all down to almost 0 spies, so it is promising for the next conflicts. I think a Smuggler-Thopter makes sense now. Just to also prevent them from doing too much with that. Let's see what we draw first. And let's just advance and recall. We might still have a way of getting spies must flow. Actually, we have several ways, but the main one is probably research station with signaturing. Putting the Kvisach away just for the sake of it, making sure no one picks it up. The sleeper must awaken. It's too early to play that. You should have kept it in hand. Do we have a chance in that conflict? Worm Rider gives us 4... Actually, now we have the alliance as well, so 6 daggers. Signaturing to here gives us 4 troops. The Hardy Warriors potentially. Oh wait, it gives us 4 strength, sorry. So 2 troops from here, 4 troops from here, gives 12. 18. It could actually work quite effortlessly. It's also a weird play to play it right now. Could actually win that conflict, I think. None of them have water again, so kinda uncontested between Hardy Warriors or Research Station. We can do any of those. I think I'll first try with Signaturing, just because he played his reveal intrigue card for some more persuasion and just to mess with him in case he doesn't have enough for Spice Must Flow. It can be funny to prevent him the only target he most likely had here. Interesting as well, the sister can help in terms of daggers. So let's put that on the side. Opulence gives us 1 point. Maybe we can get those 2 points, would bring us to 9. We have obviously the 2 hidden points in the deck, thanks to the spy satellite. I think we can quite confidently say we have a high chance of winning that game. Obviously there can always be surprises. Ilban has 3 intrigue cards. 1 Spice Must Flow for now. Is he the only one? It seems so. So he could technically go far with the corner of the market, maybe. Plans within plans is not helping. Grand Conspiracy neither. got zero tech. Yeah, I think it's our game to lose, I think we can put it that way. So he's at 15. Probably want to keep that one, so maybe play diplomacy instead. We can put in another 4 troops, so be at 12. With these 6 and these 2, we're at 20. He's got only 1 intrigue card, so yeah, I think it's a good play. I think we can compete for that victory. Oh, a Web of Power, way too late for it, but always a good card to see popping up. Oh, I forgot, what did Menmon actually reveal then? Did I really prevent him from anything? No, he had 5 persuasion, so anyway, he's not really close to that Kvisat. Oh, he can also come to Hardy Warriors thanks to Jamie's. But is he even trying to compete? He is. He's got 3 intrigue cards, so he might be a bit more of a threat, to be fair. And the Prince having 4 decks. Flagship, obviously quite an interesting one, and he's got enough to replay it next round as well. Oh, actually, with our opulence point, with the reveal, with the Spice Mist Flow, sorry, if we win the conflict, it's over. Again, a very strange play. And at this stage, this is a bit of a waste, I would say, but let them play their game, I guess. Yeah, I think that's a GG, but let's see, he might still, Ilban might still win the conflict. Nice. Loving these kind of reactions, always feels great. So, Javi, if you see this, thank you very much. It puts a smile on my face. It's awesome to see these kind of reactions, and yeah, hopefully I can push that channel a bit higher. Was this a stage incident? No, wait, we're not in the combat yet. Ah, with Chani, okay. So Menmon had a combat card, but not enough to be first, just to pass Ilban, and I guess Ilban passes as well, so I think that's game. It's awesome. That feels very good, and we finally uh, made Helena worth it because our first two games with her were not ideal, and now we're on the right track for the last few games. We're doing great, I think, in terms of progression. A bit of luck, obviously, but that's also what we need. So yeah, thank you very much, everyone. Don't forget, like every Sunday, we try being live, so keep an eye out on that, and looking forward to seeing you. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Would mean a great deal for me. Have a great evening or whatever it is right now for you, and see you soon. Bye bye.